Welcome back to the deep dive. Usually we are here sifting through market reports, analyzing tech breakthroughs, or trying to make sense of complex political data.
Right.
We like facts, we like hard numbers. But today we are doing something completely different. We are stepping into the dark.
We really are. We're leaving the spreadsheets behind and walking into a nightmare.
Yeah.
We're looking at a narrative source today, a specific pivotal chapter from Chasing Death. And I have to say, this isn't just a story, it's a psychological descent.
It really is.
It's atmospheric, it's unsettling, and honestly, it's one of the most visceral depictions of a coup d'etat I've ever read.
It feels less like reading a text and more like watching a film in a dark theater. So let's set the scene for you. Where are we? And maybe more importantly, when are we?
We are in ancient Egypt, but it's the immediate bloody aftermath of a violent takeover.
Okay.
The usurper, Zayn, has won. The former pharaoh Zenon and Queen Aria, the parents of our protagonist, Prince Zayn, are dead.
And the thing that really struck me right from that first paragraph is the sheer disrespect of the burial.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in this culture, the burial is everything. It's the bridge to the afterlife.
Yeah.
If you aren't buried right, you just don't exist in the next world.
Exactly. And Zayn denies them that. He doesn't give them a royal tomb. He doesn't give them the rights.
Nothing.
The text says he hastily hides the bodies in the ruins of some forgotten king, literally overnight. He just wants the evidence gone. And that right there sets the stage for Prince Zayn.
It's the ultimate pressure cooker.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine you are Zayn.
Right.
You wake up thinking, today is the day you plot a coup with your mother to save the kingdom. But you're too late.
Way too late.
The coup happened while you slept. Your parents are already dead. The court has turned.
And the psychological weight of that is crushing. He's paralyzed. The text describes him essentially sleepwalking into the palace. He has to walk into the lion's den.
Into his own home.
Into his own home, which is now enemy territory, and shake the hand of the man who murdered his family.
That is the mission of this deep dive. We're going to walk that path with Zayn. We're going to dissect the confrontation with the usurper, the desperate search for the bodies, and finally, this descent into something, well, something supernatural that fundamentally breaks the rules of life and death.
It's a journey that starts as a political thriller and ends as absolute gothic horror.
And it all begins in the throne room.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that scene because the visual storytelling is incredible. Zayn enters Pharaoh Zenon's chamber, his uncle's chamber, and finds Zayn there. But Zayn isn't wearing the crown yet, is he?
No, and that is such a telling detail about Zayn's psychology. The text describes the blood-soaked crown sitting on a smaller golden throne in front of him.
Just sitting there.
And Zayn is just staring at it. He's looking at it with the eyes of a conqueror. It's this moment of private gloating before the public spectacle.
He's savoring it.
He's savoring the violence of it.
He hasn't put it on yet because the anticipation is better than the act.
Yeah. Yes. And then he hears footsteps. Zayn spins around, sword drawn. The text says he moves with the swiftness of a striking serpent.
This is the moment.
This is the pivotal moment. Zayn is flooded with adrenaline. He's in kill mode. He sees Zayn, and he knows, rationally, he knows, that Zayn is the rightful heir.
A loose end.
A huge loose end. The smartest thing to do is kill him right there.
But he doesn't. And I want to understand why. Because Zayn does not seem like the type to show mercy.
He absolutely isn't. It's not mercy, it's arrogance. And it's a very specific kind of class condescension.
Okay.
He looks at Zayn, ready to strike, but then he pauses. He sizes him up. And he decides that Zayn isn't a warrior. He sees a herbalist.
That's the word he uses, herbalist. He uses it like a slur.
It is a slur.
Like being a man of knowledge makes you less of a man.
Exactly. To a man like Zayn, who believes that power comes only from brute strength and steel, a man of science or medicine looks weak.
So he looks at Zayn and thinks,
this boy is nothing. Zayn decides that killing him isn't even necessary because Zayn poses zero threat. So the murderous glare vanishes.
and he puts on this smile.
This calculated fake smile.
Yes.
That switch is more terrifying than the sword, I think. It shows how unstable he is, and the exchange that follows, it makes your skin crawl.
It really does.
Zayn has to congratulate him. He has to call Zayn my friend.
Ugh.
The text described Zayn's forced smile feeling like sandpaper on his face. You can practically feel the friction of it.
That's a brilliant description, isn't it? Sandpaper. It shows the physical toll of the lie. Zayn is terrified. He knows Zayn could snap his fingers and end him.
So he plays the role.
He plays the role. He talks about how the people will love Zayn for restoring the ancient faith and the idols.
Yeah.
He feeds Zayn's ego.
Which Zayn eats up.
Mhm.
He admits it too. He doesn't pretend it was a legal transition.
Not at all.
He says, quote, "I seized the throne of Egypt by my own sheer strength." He's part of the violence. But then he twists the knife. He starts talking about the coronation. This is psychological warfare, plain and simple. Zayn tells Zayn he expects him to be there. He says, "Watching you celebrate my success will give me the greatest possible joy."
It's sadistic. He doesn't just want the throne. He wants the submission.
He wants to see the rightful heir cheering for the usurper. It's about breaking Zayn's spirit completely. It's about dominance.
And there's a specific threat Zayn makes here that really caught my attention. It's subtle, but it's crucial.
Oh, yes.
Zayn thanks him for keeping his position in the court secure, calling it fairness. And Zayn stops him cold.
Oh, that moment gave me chills.
Right.
Zayn says, "This is not fairness. I am showing favor."
Let's break that down. What is the difference in his mind?
It's massive. If Zayn were acting with justice, the cold logic of securing a coup, he would execute Zayn immediately as a rival claimant.
Of course.
Justice, in this brutal context, equals death for Zayn. By letting him live, Zayn is claiming he's being benevolent. He's saying, "I am giving you a gift."
It's a power move.
It's a power move to remind Zayn that his life hangs by a thread of whim, not law. You don't have rights. You have my permission to breathe.
So Zayn plays the submissive role, bows, and gets out of there.
Oh.
But his mind isn't on the politics. He's obsessed with one thing.
Where are the bodies?
Where are the bodies?
The grief is just overwhelming him. He asks around the palace, but the silence is absolute. Zayn buried them so secretly that not even the court knows where they are. It's like they were erased from existence.
So Zayn has to go to the one person who might know. He rides out, pulls a maneuver to shake off any spies in the desert.
Which shows he's not as helpless as Zayn thinks.
Not at all. And he heads to the hut of St. Orien along the Nile.
And the shift in atmosphere here it's important for you to visualize. We go from the tense, golden, blood-soaked palace to the quiet shade of a pomegranate tree.
It's almost jarring.
It is. St. Orien is meditating, and before Zayn can even explain, the saint knows.
He puts his hand over Zayn's mouth. He knows about the coup, the murders, everything.
It establishes the spiritual stakes here. We are moving away from political intrigue into something more mystical. Orien predicts Zayn's destruction immediately. He says, "God never spares a tyrant." But Zayn is broken. He breaks down weeping.
He doesn't ask for the throne.
No, he just asks where his mother is.
It's a heartbreaking moment. He's not a prince here. He's just a son.
Just a son. And after 2 hours of meditation, which feels like an eternity in the narrative pacing, Orien sees it.
He knows.
He tells Zayn the bodies are in the ancient pyramid of his great-great-grandfather northeast of the city.
And this is where the story pivots. Zayn leaves the world of men, the politics, the grief, and enters the world of the dead.
He rides to these desolate ruins at dusk, and the description here is chilling, cold air, absolute darkness, a sputtering torchlight.
And there's that classic horror trope. A
Right.
creature, maybe a bat or a bird, flies out of the gloom to startle him. It just sets the nerves on edge.
It really does. He enters the cave, lights a torch, and then a voice speaks.
Not a human voice.
No. The text describes it as a deep, resonant voice coming from the blackest corner of the cave.
And it asks.
It asks if he's looking for his mother.
Now, Zayn assumes this is the spirit of his ancestor. He's respectful. He asks for guidance. But the voice,
The voice isn't interested in comfort. It wants to make a deal.
and this is where we have to look very closely at the wording, because this is the hinge the whole story swings on.
Absolutely.
The entity says it will reveal the graves, but only if Zayn swears a specific oath. If he refuses, he wanders the caves forever.
The condition is terrifying. Zayn has to raise his hands and say, "Oh God of Zeus, grant me eternal life. Make death unlawful for me."
A death unlawful.
Just stop and think about that phrasing.
It's so bizarre. Why not just let me live forever?
Make death unlawful implies a violation of natural law. It frames death as a crime that cannot be committed against him.
So it's not a blessing.
No, it's a legal immunity against the cosmos. It's unnatural. It suggests that the universe wants him to die, but he is forbidding it.
Zayn hesitates. He senses something is wrong. The air in the cave is heavy,
But the voice threatens to leave him wandering in the dark, never finding his parents. So, out of desperation and grief,
He screams it.
he screams it, he swears the oath, and the reaction is immediate. A demonic roar shakes the entire cave.
And the graves are revealed.
Just a small pothole where his parents were dumped like garbage. Zayn prays over them, but the horror isn't over. He asks the voice, why? Why did you make me ask for eternal life?
The answer gives me goosebumps every time I read it.
Me too! The voice shrieks so that I might escape this eternal hellfire.
It was a trap.
That is the trap. It's a transference. The entity, whatever demon or spirit this was trapped in that cave, perhaps bound by its own immortality or curse. It needed a vessel.
It needed someone else to take the burden.
It needed someone else to take the burden of eternal life, to free itself.
So it wasn't a gift, it was a trick.
It's always a trick in these stories. The entity needed a volunteer. It coerced him, yes. But Zayn had to say the words.
He had to ask for it.
That's the tragedy. He consented to his own damnation to save his mother's memory.
And then the entity gives him a command.
Yes, it tells him he has to leave immediately and go to the riverbank by the final hour of the night. There's a ship waiting, the ship of eternal life.
And if he doesn't board it,
His mother's soul will suffer torment.
that's the lock. He has the power of eternal life now, but he's still being coerced. He's trapped by his love for his mother.
The entity knows exactly which buttons to push.
So the entity vanishes with the sound of crashing stones, and Zayn rushes home. And this is where the reality of what he's done starts to sink in.
Right.
He's back at his mansion, and he can't believe it. So he tests it,
This scene is grotesque but necessary. He takes a dagger to his own arm.
and nothing happens. Well, not nothing, the skin parts, but there is no blood. And then it heals.
In under a minute.
It's actually happening. He is physically changing. But he doesn't have time to process it because the soldiers arrive.
Zaren's treachery comes full circle. He let Zayn leave the palace, sure.
But he sent men to finish the job quietly.
Exactly. 2 soldiers burst in with orders to arrest him, and this is key, bury him alive.
Which, if you are immortal, is a fate literally worse than death.
It is the ultimate horror. Eternal suffocation, darkness forever. You can't die, but you can be trapped.
And Zayn realizes this instantly. The panic sets in. He thinks, wait, I can't die, but they can bury me. So he fights.
It's a desperate, messy 2-on-1 fight. Zayn manages to kill one soldier, but the second one lands a clean shot. He strikes Zayn's neck with full force.
A blow that should have taken his head clean off.
And this is the moment the curse manifests physically in combat. The text says the sword doesn't cut. It crumples and bends with a loud crackle, as if hitting an iron shield.
Can you imagine the soldier's face? He just hit a man's bare neck with a steel sword, and the sword broke.
It's pure horror for the soldier. He realizes he's not fighting a man anymore. He's facing a monster, something that defies physics.
So Zayn kills him.
He does, but the victory is completely hollow. He realizes he has to run. Not because he can be killed, but because if he's captured, Zayn will just throw him in a pit and leave him there for eternity.
The fear of being buried alive drives him to the river. He remembers the voice's command about the ship. He has to get out of Egypt.
He reaches the Nile past midnight. And there it is, the ancient ship glowing with soft lights.
It's eerie. A small dinghy comes to get him. He boards, and the crew. They're singing, but they don't speak to him.
They just smile these faint, creepy smiles and work with precise mechanical movements.
A ghost crew.
Totally a ghost crew. Zayn is physically there, but he's completely isolated. The ship sets sail, leaves the river, and enters the open sea. No one talks to him.
He's just a passenger.
A passenger on a vessel he doesn't control.
Then the storm hits. 2 nights later, the captain orders him into the cabin, and when he comes out the next morning,
Silence. Absolute ringing silence.
the deck is empty. The captain is gone. The crew is gone. He runs below deck. No one but the oars.
The oars are still moving.
That image is haunting. The oars dipping into the water, rhythmically, driven by invisible hands.
And the singing is still audible, echoing in the air, but there's no one there. It's like the ship itself is a living, breathing entity, or he's surrounded by ghosts he can no longer see.
The phantom singing stops eventually.
Yeah.
And it's just Zayn, alone, on a ship that sails itself toward an unknown destination.
And that is where the chapter leaves us.
It's such a heavy ending. You know, usually when we talk about superpowers or immortality in movies, it's this cool, empowering thing. I can live forever. I can do anything.
Right.
But here, it's terrifying.
Because it comes at the cost of his humanity. Think about what actually happened here. Zayn wanted to save his parents' dignity. He wanted revenge. Instead, he was tricked into a vow that removed him from the natural cycle of life.
Make death unlawful for me.
Right. And now, he has exactly what he asked for. He cannot die. He is invincible. Swords break against his skin like he's made of diamond.
But he is completely alone.
Drifting on an empty ocean, unable to return to the life he knew. He has been severed from the human experience.
It raises such a fascinating question about the nature of power and desperation. You have Zayn, who has the worldly power, the throne, the armies.
The fear of the people. But he's a tyrant who will eventually fall, according to the saint. He's mortal. His reign will end.
And then you have Zayn. He has the ultimate power, eternal life, but he's a prisoner of it.
It's the classic tragedy of the wish fulfilled. Zayn was so desperate to escape the immediate pain, the grief, the helplessness in the face of the usurper that he accepted a bargain without understanding the price.
He didn't.
The voice in the cave tricked him because it knew that eternal life without purpose, without connection, is just another form of hellfire.
And the isolation is absolute.
Yeah.
He can't go back to the palace. They'd bury him. He can't go back to the Saint. He's on a ghost ship going, where?
That's the mystery. The entity said the ship was the ship of eternal life, but listening to the story, it feels more like a prison transport.
He's being taken away from the world of men.
Because he no longer belongs to it. A man who can never die, and perhaps can never truly live again. He is effectively a statue that breathes.
It's a chilling place to stop, but that's where the source material ends. Zayn, standing on the deck, watching the oars move on their own, sailing into eternity.
It really forces you to ask yourself, if you were in that cave, grieving, broken, and a voice offered you a way out, offered you power, would you have done any differently?
That is the scary part. I think many of us might have said yes.
And we would be on that ship right now.
Well, on that cheerful note,
Okay.
seriously though, this was a powerful reminder of why we do these deep dives. Sometimes the most insightful things aren't in the data, but in the stories that explore the extremes of the human condition. This wasn't just a fantasy story, it was a study in grief and the unintended consequences of our deepest desires.
Absolutely. It's a story about power, yes, but mostly about the terrifying consequences of getting exactly what you asked for.
Thank you for listening to this deep dive into chasing death. We will leave you there, drifting with Zayn into the unknown. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay curious.
And be careful what you vow.